This class consists of 30 children. A high percentage of them are bilingual learners, which include Turkish, Albanian, Farsi, Yoruba, Spanish, quite a wide range of languages. There's additional adult support in the classroom, who's a teacher and a special needs assistant. Right, year 2. Today we're carrying on with our instructions, with our recipes. We're carrying on with giving instructions and following instructions. What must you do when you're giving instructions? What must you do quite well? If you remember a few days ago, Dilara's mum came to our class and she gave us some very good instructions on doing a Turkish recipe called börek. It was very tasty and yummy. And I'd like us to remember what kinds of words she used to help us with instructions. Wait, first of all, I'd like you to listen to Dilara's mum's instructions.
First, brush the baking tray with oil. Then, beat the eggs quickly. After that, add the milk, the oil and mix them together. Next, lay out the pastry. Sprinkle cheese and parsley carefully. Then, cover with more pastry and spread some mixture on top. Finally, cook in a hot oven for 40 minutes.
Well done. I think you listened very well. I wonder if you heard which words did Dilara's mum use at the beginning of every sentence to help us with the order of instructions? Cameron?
Connectives.
Well done, Cameron. Connectives. And can someone tell us, give us the examples of connectives that she used? Mia?
First, next, then, after, afterward, finally.
And where does finally usually go, Mia?
At the end.
Well done. And where does first go? Taj?
The beginning.
Right. What words or verbs did you hear in Dilara's mum's instructions that helped us with our recipe? Abdus?
Sprinkle.
Very good one. Sprinkle. Well done, Abdus. Clevis?
Add.
Well done, Clevis. Shay?
Mix.
Mix, that's a good one. I wonder whether Janberg actually can help us with one of the instructions in Turkish, because Dilara's mum gave us the instructions in Turkish as well as English, yes? Do you mind having a look at the first instruction, Janberg? First, brush the baking tray with oil. How do you say that in Turkish? Can you help us?
Önce fırına tepsiye yağ koyuyoruz.
Excellent. And how do you say first in Turkish?
Önce.
Önce. Very good. Right, year 2. What we're going to do now is consider the words that Cameron called connectives, time connectives. And we're going to think about how to use those words to help us with the order of our instructions. So, first of all, let's look at these pictures and think about something we do every day. We're going to put our time connectives up and think about which order they come in. Right. Who can come and help us with the beginning of the instructions? Jan? Well done. What does that say, Jan? Good boy. And what do you think goes at the end of our instructions, Israel? Good boy. What does that say, Israel?
After. Family.
Finally, well done, excellent. What we will be doing now is practicing all the words that we've been thinking about this morning, about our time connectives and also about the verbs that help us with giving instructions. In your groups of 3, you're going to go over to your tables, at your recipe tables, and you're going to be practicing your instructions. You're going to be in groups of 3, so we have to be very sensible about taking it in turns, all right? The person giving the instructions is the chef, the person wearing the chef's hat. That's the only person giving the instructions while they're making their recipe, all right? The other 2 people are helping the chef with the instructions.
First, you get some strawberry powder and you pour it in. You pour some milk. Then you mix it. Whisk it. After, you pour it in. Then you sprinkle some of the sweet decoration. Then you decoration with the sweets. After that, add some strawberry sauce. Last of all, you do a teddy bear biscuit.
Right, we carried out instructions and we practiced using instructions. I'm going to ask one group how they got on with their instructions and if they thought we could make them better or if they thought they were really good. Can you just tell us what kind of words you use, first of all? Kazra?
Next,
Yep.
put, add, place.
Mia? Any other words that you used?
Then, after that, finally.
Well done. So now, if you're all happy with your instructions, we're going to be ready to give instructions to the other group to follow and make your recipe, okay? So in the next lesson, what we're going to do is one person from each group will swap over to follow instructions from the other recipe. You'll be going to giving instructions to the listener in the new recipe, and the listener will be following instructions, making sure they're carrying out the right instructions. Off you go.
Put a roll of dough and put it on a cutting tray, a cutting board. Go on then. Roll it out. Make sure you put it nice and big. Then put it on a plate and make sure you put it touch all the sides. Then add tomato sauce on top. After that, sprinkle some cheese on top. Oh no, that big. Add some mushrooms on top.
There have been a range of strategies being used in order to scaffold the language that children are using. Initially, we used the guest speaker, the parent who came in to demonstrate the recipe, as the initial model, so that children actually see language and hear it in a real situation. The follow-up strategy for scaffolding was really to get them to practice that in couples, to actually focus on those keywords like time connectives and the kind of verbs that were being used, and practice that in a kind of informal paired talk situation. The groupings have been arranged deliberately so that children who are speaking English as an additional language have effective English-speaking role models to actually support them in initially modelling the language for them and then structuring and building on that. The actual triangles that were used in sequence 4 were very much mixed in that way. The group triangles were actually set up in order to focus on the roles of the speaker, the listener, as well as the observer. And it gives an opportunity to reflect on what kind of language is being used and the interaction that takes place between the speaker and the listener. And being a kind of analytical about what kind of words are used and have been effective in terms of delivering instructions in this case, or receiving instructions. Although they're at quite a young age, I think they're kind of beginning now the evidence of being quite analytical about what kind of language is used, and they can think about listening with a purpose. It is also very important that the school values the child's language in terms of the child feeling that their cultural background, their ethnic background is actually being valued in terms of their learning. Otherwise, you can get a situation where a child's motivation and sense of worth can be damaged. That could affect their attitude towards learning, their general sense of confidence and self-esteem, which all have a big impact on their learning.